new den build. It's me, Skinley, and welcome to the first in a series of many guides that we're going to be doing for the wonderful world of Final Fantasy XIV. So, if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you can see from the title that this is going to be the beginner guide on how to be a tank in Final Fantasy XIV, because that is the main class that I play, so I feel I have enough experience getting punched in the face to tell you how to do it efficiently. So, first of all, you might be wondering, what is a tank? Well, a tank essentially is a giant meat bag for the enemies. You draw all the attention of all the enemies to yourself while getting punched in the face so that your friends don't have to. And currently in the game, we have 4 different flavors of tank. You have Shield Boy, Too Angry to Die, Edgelord, and Midlife Crisis. But for this video, we're going to be focusing on the Paladin, mainly because that's the class that I'm playing. But, having said that, all these tips and tricks and whatever will apply to all different tank classes, so you don't need to specifically be playing Paladin for this. So, number 1, tank stance. Now, for any duty you might be doing, so any dungeons, any raids, any story missions, anything like that, any new instance you load into, you need to make sure that you turn on your tank stance. Because what your tank stance does is it lets you generate enmity, which is basically aggro or the monster's attention. It lets you generate that a lot easier so that you can control the flow of battle more, you can control the monster's aggravation, you can control who is picking fights with you. Now, the icons for each of these classes look like this. So make sure you get familiar with it and make sure you turn it on every single time. It is your main crucial thing to do with tanks. Okay, number 2. Your ranged aggro grab and your AoE aggro grab combos. Now, what I mean for that is whenever you run into an enemy or a boss, you want to usually almost always start with your ranged aggro grab. So you saw there how I threw my shield at the first guy. That's my ranged aggro grab attack. And now I'm doing my AoEs, which is the spin, and I'm hitting everybody at once. Now, what that does is that enables you to grab the aggravation of the monster before any of your teammates get in range, so that you don't have to worry about them accidentally taking the aggravation of the monster. And also your AoE lets you grab large groups of monsters at once to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So obviously you can walk into groups of enemies like I did there, as long as you know that you're going to be the first one in their line of sight. It's a bit risky within dungeons, especially small enclosed spaces like this, but you want to make sure that you're grabbing attention of everybody here. So you'll see here in a second where I run forward and I throw my shield at them, because that is the Paladin's ranged aggro grab. So that means that because I'm the first person that hit an enemy in this group, they will focus me and run at me first before anybody else. So even if your healer or your DPS or anybody throws a spell at that same person that you threw your shield at, or your ranged aggro grab, obviously it's different for each class, you should still have all the aggro, because 1, you have your tank stance turned on, and 2, you were the first person to attack them. Okay, number 3, guide the monsters. So you can see here in this footage, I'm running towards Bachman and I hit him with my AoE grab, and then I spin him so that he's facing the other way from my group, because as you can see here, he does a very large conal AoE in front of him. Now, as you can see, all my teammates are standing behind him, so none of them are in danger of getting hit. So if you're facing big monsters, try and always face them away from your group, especially if you're at the edge of an arena, because then obviously like the AoE has no chance of hitting them. Now, sometimes that will not be possible because the bosses will ignore you, but for the most part, face the monsters away from your teammates. And now, number 4, protect the healer. So whenever you enter into any instance or whatever, and you have a healer on your team, you and the healer are now best friends, because the healer will keep you alive while you keep everybody else alive by grabbing the aggro and getting punched in the face. So it's kind of ideal that you keep the healer alive. Now, different tanks will have different ways of protecting their teammates. So for Paladin, they have a lot of mitigation abilities, so you can learn skills like cover or divine intervention, that sort of thing, that will reduce the amount of damage that your teammates and allies take. Now, obviously this is going to be different for every tank, but generally speaking, if you see that your healer is going to be in trouble, I mean, it even works for your DPS as well. If you can spare it, like if your healer is perfectly fine and one of your DPS is going to take a little bit of damage, then please use your abilities to save them. That's your job. You are the tank. You're there to protect everybody. You're basically everybody's big bro. So make sure you look after everyone. And finally, number 5. And this is more of a kind of a personal choice, and it's more of a generalized tip, but whenever I play a tank, I scroll my camera out as far as I can. Now, the main reason I do that is so that I can get a better view of the battlefield and I can see what's happening. I can see if a lot more enemies come up. You can see it from the footage here when we're fighting the Mind Flayer, that I have zoomed my camera all the way out so that I can see when the enemies are popping in, when I can grab aggro from everybody. Basically just controlling as much of the field as I can, because I don't like ads popping in and me not knowing about it, and then my teammates taking hits for it and possibly dying for it. So I would recommend zooming your camera all the way out just to get a better field of view of things. And yeah, this has been your guide, or your beginner guide, on how to be a tank in Final Fantasy XIV. So let me know in the comments if you have any more questions, if you need any particular guides done for any particular things in Final Fantasy XIV. I've been playing the game since beta for years now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to leave a like and follow me on all my socials and subscribe here on YouTube. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.